everyone, coming back to the class. So in the last previous class I have told you about what do you mean by biopharmaceutics, pharmacokinetics and different terms related absorption, distribution, metabolism and elimination. So among the four terms, coming to the first term, that is absorption of drugs. So I have told you what do you mean by absorption of drugs. It is the rate of movement of drug from the site of administration to the site of action. We are calling as absorption. Means after the administration of the drug through the oral cavity, the drug will cross all the biological membranes and enters into the systemic circulation, that is blood circulation. So the process of movement of drug from the mouth to our blood circulation we are calling as absorption of drugs. So generally if you take for example a drug injected intravascularly, that is either intravenously or intraarterially. So whenever we are giving the drug through the intravascular route, the drug directly enters into the systemic circulation and exerts its pharmacological effect. For example, if I am taking any of the injection, I am injecting through our venal route or arterial route, what will happen? Within 5 to 10 minutes, the drug will circulate entirely in our blood. So immediately it will show the action without any delay. If a drug administered through extravascular route, that is generally if it is a oral route, what will happen after the administration of the drug? If it want to show the effect, first of all it should reach the systemic circulation by crossing all the biological membranes. Means here the importance of absorption term is very important in this criteria. Means if the drug is administered through extravascular route, means for example, if I am taking a tablet through our mouth, what will happen? First of all, it reaches the gastrointestinal tract by crossing all the biological membranes. From the gastrointestinal tract, it will allow to pass through to all the organs and to the tissues. So here in this process, it should absorb through all the biological membranes and enters into the blood circulation. So in such cases, the absorption is a prerequisite step. So majority of the drugs we are administering through the extravascular route only, but only in rare cases or in severe cases we are injecting the drug through the intravascular route. So absorption is having a greater criteria regarding to the extravascular administration. So what do you mean by drug absorption? It is defined as the process of movement of unchanged drug from the site of administration to the systemic circulation. For example, site of administration, if I am taking oral tablet, my site of administration is mouth, right? So from the site of administration to the systemic circulation, for example, after administration of the drug through our oral mouth, what will happen? During the movement of the drug into the systemic circulation, because of liver or because of gastrointestinal tract, some part of the drug may be converted into inactive form. For example, if you take liver, in the liver we are having different enzymes. So because of such enzymes, the active part of the drug, some active part of the drug may get converted into inactive part. So for example, if I am taking, if you take salbutamol sulfate, an anti-asthmatic drug, it is having oral bioavailability of nearly 50%. Means the other remaining 50% is metabolized because of the enzymes which are present in the liver. For example, if I am taking 100 mg of salbutamol sulfate, among the 100 mg of salbutamol sulfate, only 50 mg of the drug will be entered into the blood circulation and the remaining 50 mg of the drug will get metabolized because of the enzymes present in the liver. What do you mean by metabolism? Nothing but the conversion of active form of the drug into inactive form of the drug. Okay, so that's why absorption means they are saying that absorption means unchanged form of the drug. Means how we are administering the drug, in what form we are administering the drug, in the same form the drug should enter into the systemic circulation without any changes. Only that part of the drug will be taken into account. If 100 mg of the drug is coming into the blood circulation without any conversion, we will get 100% bioavailability. If the only 50 mg of the drug get entered into the blood circulation, means what will happen? Only 50% bioavailability will be occurred and only 50% clinical benefits will be observed in the patient. So following absorption, the effectiveness of a drug can only be assessed by its concentration at the site of action. So after the administration of the drug, how we are measuring the concentration of the drug? By measuring the drug concentration at the site of action. For example, if I want to give the drug to the kidneys, what will happen? We have to measure the drug concentration only in the place of kidneys. So after the administration of the drug, it will dissolve, it will enter into the blood circulation. Through the passage of the blood, the drug molecules will get entered into the kidney. So after reaching the drug molecules at the site of kidneys, what will happen? The kidneys will absorb the drug molecules and shows the therapeutic action. But we cannot measure the drug concentration at the site of action. That's why we are measuring the drug concentration at the plasma concentration, means how much amount of the drug is present in the plasma concentration is directly proportional to the concentration of the drug at the site of action. So here they are saying that following absorption, the effectiveness of a drug can only be assessed by its concentration at the site of action, but we cannot measure, it is highly risk while measuring the drug at the site of action. For that's why we are measuring, instead of the site of action, we are measuring the drug in the plasma, means nothing but blood. So in the blood we are having one plasma content. So by separating the blood content and by separating the plasma by centrifugation process, we are calculating how much amount of the drug is present in the plasma. So this plasma will also give the accurate measurement, means how at the site of action how the drug is present, how much concentration of the drug is present is directly proportional to the concentration of the drug in the plasma, means it is showing a greater and accurate results. So that's why we are having correlation between the plasma concentration of the drug and the therapeutic response, means how much amount of the drug is present in the plasma concentration. At the same amount we're showing the clinical benefits to the patient, means for example 100% is present in the blood concentration, 100% bioavailability or 100% therapeutic response will be observed by the patient. Next, and this absorption can also be defined as the process of movement of unchanged drug from the site of administration to the site of measurement. So generally, before I have defined that absorption is defined as the process of movement of unchanged drug, the process of movement of unchanged drug from the site of action to the systemic circulation, right? So that's why this systemic circulation means here they are talking about the site of action, but we cannot measure the concentration of the drug at the site of action. So instead of site of action, we are measuring the drug in the plasma. So this plasma consisting of, this plasma means nothing but systemic circulation. That's why the definition were defined again like the process of movement of unchanged drug from the site of administration to the site of measurement, means where we are measuring the drug concentration in the plasma. So that's why site of measurement means nothing but plasma. Okay, so for example, I am taking any of the drug, but it is slowly releasing the drug. Okay, for example, I am taking paracetamol drug, 100 mg of paracetamol drug. So for example, 25 mg of drug is releasing instantaneously, means then only a particular 25 mg is sufficient to give the good clinical benefits. If it is 10 mg or 15 mg, it will not show a good clinical effects. Means for example, if I am a patient of suffering with severe fever, so what will happen about after administration of paracetamol of 500 mg or 600 mg, among the 25% of the drug should release rapidly to produce the therapeutic effects, means should decrease the temperature. But here what is happening, only 10 mg of the drug is releasing or only 20 mg of the drug is releasing. The 10 mg and 20 mg is not sufficient to produce a complete clinical effects. So we have to check not only the release, how much amount of drug is releasing, but also the rate, means how much amount of the drug is releasing instantaneously, how much the peak is, how much concentration of the drug is present in the plasma at a steady state. Everything we have to take into account. So here what they are saying, a drug that is completely but slowly absorbed may fail to show therapeutic response as the plasma concentration of the desired effect is never achieved. For example, I have told you the example. For example, if you take 100 mg, 100 mg will be dissolved in the blood circulation, that is fine. But how much amount of the drug is releasing, how much amount of the drug, if the drug is releasing only little bit, it will not show a proper therapeutic effect, and the concentration is every time is under subtherapeutic level. So the rate and rapidity both are important, not only the release, but we have to check how the drug is releasing. Is that instantaneously or slowly? If the drug is releasing slowly by manipulating the concentration of the drug or manipulating the factors related to the tablet, we have to check, we have to change, and we have to improve the rate of the drug release. So if the drug is releasing slowly, we cannot achieve a desired effect, and we cannot show the clinical benefits to the patient. So on the contrary, rapidly absorbed drug attains the therapeutic level easily to elicit the pharmacological effect. Means the drug should release into the patient's body rapidly to show a good pharmacological effect. Slow absorption will never reach a peak level and never show a good therapeutic benefits to the patients. So that's why the rate and extent, means how much rapidity and how much amount of the drug is spent, how much time the drug is spent in the body, both are important regarding to the absorption of the drug. Okay, so if the drug is rapid and showing the instant release, it is having a greater advantages. So what is the first advantage? Lesser susceptibility of the drug for degradation or interaction due to rapid absorption. So it will not stay at the site of action, or it will not stay at any tissues, because whenever I am taking the drug instantaneously, it will get mixed with the blood. So what will happen? So there is no chance to bind the drug molecules to any tissues or any other organs. So we can avoid such degradation, or we can avoid such toxicity effects which is produced to the other organs. Higher blood levels and rapid onset of action. If the drug is releasing so fast, so obviously our absorption is very rapid and very fast. So it is beneficial to the patients who are in severe conditions. More uniform, greater and reproducible therapeutic response. So the uniformity of the drug release is also will be very maintaining the steady levels, means steady state. It will not get fluctuated. Uniformity of release will be there during the administration of the during the release of the drug, and it will show a good and reproducible values. So these are the three advantages regarding to the rapid and instant release of the drug when compared to the slow absorption of drugs. So, and the last point, so drugs that have entered into the systemic circulation to produce a systemic effect will be administered through three major routes. We are having three major routes for the administration of the drugs. One is enteral route, parenteral route and topical route. Okay, so these are the three major routes. So only with majority of the drugs will be administered in these three routes and produces the systemic circulation. Coming to the first one, enteral route. What do you mean by enteral route? Nothing but gastrointestinal route, sublingual route, buccal route and rectal route. So coming in all these routes, among all these routes, gastrointestinal route is very important, because almost all types of the drug, means 90% of the drugs will be administered through the oral route. So here the gastrointestinal tract plays a main role. Coming to the second one, parenteral route, which includes all the routes administered through or under skin. For example, if you take intravascular route, that is intravenous route, the drug will be administered through the vein, means under the skin or through the skin. So here absorption will not be required. Here in the intravenous route there is no absorption process required. That's why the rate of absorption is very rapid and producing the pharmacological effect within 10 to 15 minutes. Coming to the other routes like extravascular routes, that is subcutaneous route or intramuscular route, here the absorption process is necessary for the administration of the drug and reaching the drug into the systemic circulation. Coming to the topical route, includes skin, eyes and other specific membranes. Everyone knows what we mean by topical routes, means nothing but on the surface of the skin, means intranasal route, intraocular route, transdermal route, topical route. These are all comes under the topical route. So majority of the drugs were administered through these routes. Among all these three types of routes, the drugs were administered through the gastrointestinal route. After the gastrointestinal route, the next preference will be go to the parenteral route. So because most of the drugs were administered through the oral route, gastrointestinal tract is having major importance because the drug should cross the gastrointestinal tract to reach the systemic circulation. So in the absorption point of view, gastrointestinal tract is having a greater importance. So the oral route of the drug administration is the most common route for systemically acting drugs, and therefore more emphasis will be given to the absorption of drugs because we are administering the drug. Majority of the drugs we are administering through the oral route. That's why more importance will be given to the gastrointestinal tract. So before going to the absorption aspects, I want to tell you about a brief introduction regarding what we mean by cell membrane, its structure and physiology. So coming to the cell membrane and structure, so for a drug to be administered, absorbed and distributed into organs and tissues, it should and eliminated from the body, it should cross one or more biological membranes. So any drug, if you exclude parenteral route, any drug, if you exclude parenteral route or topical route, any drug which are giving through the oral route, it should cross the biological membranes. Different biological membranes were present in our body. So every membrane the drug should cross and then only it can enter into the systemic circulation. So that's why such a movement of drug across the cell membrane is calling as drug transport, means the drug should cross from our mouth to systemic circulation, means in our body we are having different membranes. So every membrane the drug should cross, then only it can effectively act on our body. So this is the basic structure of cell membrane. If you observe here, we are having polar head, non-polar tail, protein, everything is here. The simple basic structure of cell membrane should be like this. So every drug should cross this type of cell membranes. Many cell membranes it should cross and then only it can reach the systemic circulation. So here you can see this is polar head, this is non-polar head, this is lipid, this is protein. So what we are observing here, this is a polar head. What do you mean by polar head? Polar means nothing but hydrophilic compounds, means water loving compounds. If this is a non-polar tail, nothing but non-polar means it can having a lipophilic characteristics. So this is showing a hydrophilic characteristics, means water loving characteristics, and this is showing lipophilic characteristics, means it will attract the oil soluble compounds. So polar plus non-polar together we are calling as amphiphilic. What do you mean by amphiphilic? Nothing but if a particular compound containing properties of both hydrophilic and lipophilic characteristics, then a particular compound we are calling as amphiphilic phospholipids. So in the entire of this component we are having both polar and non-polar components. That's why together we are calling as amphiphilic phospholipids. So here you can observe the cell membrane consisting of a double layer of amphiphilic phospholipid molecules arranged in such a fashion that the hydrocarbon chains are oriented inwards to form the outer and inner hydrophilic boundaries of the cell membrane that face the surrounding aqueous environment. If you observe it, these are the non-polar tails, these are the polar heads. These non-polar tails are oriented towards innerwards to show the lipophilic environment inside the cell membrane, and the polar head are oriented towards outside to produce an outer and inner hydrophilic boundaries. So these are the two amphiphilic phospholipids. That's why we are calling as double layer of amphiphilic phospholipids. See, double layer of amphiphilic phospholipids, and the globular protein molecules are associated on either side of these hydrophilic boundaries and are interspersed within the membrane structure. If you observe, these are the proteins, monomolecular layer of proteins will be present at the boundaries of polar heads, and if you can observe, means these proteins are emerged within the cell membrane. In short, they are saying that it is just like a sandwich. For example, if you observe the sandwich, we are containing wedges between two breads, right or wrong. So they are resembling that these proteins, these monomolecular proteins are just like breads, and all the double layer of amphiphilic phospholipids are like wedges. So this is like simply like a mayonnaise sandwich. So in the cell membrane, we are also having a small aqueous pores having a diameter of 4 to 10 angstroms. So through the pores, some of the inorganic ions and some of the organic water soluble compounds can pass through the such pores. For example, urea. So like urea having the molecular weight or molecular size is less than 4 to 10 angstroms diameter, can easily cross the cell membrane, and the other nutrients like glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, vitamins. So what are the nutrients which is necessary for our body? Such type of nutrients can also entering into the cell membrane without any difficulty, but the cell membrane shows but the other medicaments or toxic agents which are harmful to our body. For such type of agents, the cell membrane will not allow to pass such medicaments or toxic agents which is harmful to our body. So in our body, every drug should cross the cell membrane. Every drug should cross all the biological membranes before entering into the systemic circulation. So if it cross the biological membranes rapidly and instantaneously, then only it can get entered into the systemic circulation without any problem and showing the good pharmacological effects. So these are all about the basic cell structure and introduction relating to the absorption of drugs. So how the drug is absorbing in our body, we are having different mechanisms. So these are all the mechanisms. So by using any of the mechanism, the drug will act on our body and shows the systemic circulation. What are those? Passive diffusion, pore transport, facilitated diffusion, active transport, ionic or electrochemical diffusion, ion pair transport, and endocytosis. So these are all the important mechanisms for the absorption of drugs. Among all these types of mechanisms, passive diffusion plays a vital role because 90% of the drugs were absorbed through the passive diffusion mechanism. So in the next class, we will I will discuss the detail what do you mean the passive diffusion, pore transport, and all the mechanisms. Thank you.